Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev speaking there about the situation in Nagorno-Karabakh. I'm now joined live by the head of Azerbaijan's Institute for Democracy and Human Rights, Ahmad Shahidov. I'm going to talk about the continuing Armenian attacks on civilians. Mr. Shahidov, thank you very much for joining us today on ANews. Can I ask you about the current situation in Nagorno-Karabakh and particularly about the shelling of civilians in that area?
Yes, good evening. I greet you from Baku. The real war between Armenia and Azerbaijan has been going on for 9 days of today, and this is not a short-term skirmish. This is a real war, and the reason for this should be sought in Armenia, because in recent months, Armenia has been carrying out a series of provocations on both the state border and on the front line, targeting civilians, especially civilians. These provocations continue also today, and since this morning, the Armenian armed forces have been firing heavy artillery in the densely populated areas of the Beylagan region and the city of Ganja, the second largest city of Azerbaijan. And the enemy fired rockets at Ganja International Hospital, secondary school, a furniture factory, bus station, and a central market. Thus, 3 civilians were hospitalized with various injuries, and civilian infrastructure was severely damaged today. And at the same time, one of the 2 rockets fired at the city of Beylagan hit the yard of a kindergarten, and the other one an empty area in the city. Intensive missile attacks against Ganja, Mingachevir, Barda, Tartar, and other major cities of Azerbaijan are a state terror carried out by Armenia to kill civilians. Therefore, the political and military leadership of Armenia must bear the responsibility, I think. And Armenian armed forces fired on the central market of Ganja, and just imagine how could the market have any military importance. The rocket attack was aimed at mass casualties among the civilian population. So Armenia continues this state terror against the civilian population of Azerbaijan, and on the other hand, the successful military operations carried out by the Azerbaijani army show that the balance of power in the region has changed, and the occupying Armenia is isolated in the international arena. It's a reality that the world is no longer reconciled with the occupation, and the right of states to protect their borders, state borders, is recognized, and the whole world supports the just struggle of Azerbaijani nation, Azerbaijani state, and Armenia, Republic of Armenia, cannot get the support it expects. And Russia and Iran have already officially stated their support for Azerbaijan's territorial integrity. And in general, the war in Nagorno-Karabakh has once again shown that frozen conflicts are dangerous and can flare up at any moment. Mm-hmm. That is why the world community must draw conclusions from the war in Nagorno-Karabakh. And international organizations, as a human rights defender, I want to underline the role of international organizations in this conflict. In general, international organizations must resolve all frozen conflicts in time, and the territorial integrity of countries must be restored, and international law must be established. Because over the past week, we have also seen international organizations adhere to double standards. Unfortunately, a number of organizations have the same attitude towards the occupier, I mean Armenia, and the occupied country, Azerbaijan. And today, the OSCE, PASE, UN, Council of Europe, European Union, and other international organizations, instead of openly condemning the aggressive policy of Armenia, they demand a ceasefire. You need to call everyone by their name. Armenia is occupying country and has been occupying 20% of Azerbaijani territories, Azerbaijani lands for 30 years. Also, Azerbaijan has been trying to resolve this conflict peacefully for the last 30 years. Armenia has tried to maintain the status quo and gain any time. And today, the French state, the co-chair of the OSCE Minsk group, provides political support to Armenia. And I think this is unacceptable because the mediating country cannot be a party to the conflict, I think. And therefore, Azerbaijan does not believe in negotiated settlement of this conflict. And based on international law, international principles, based on 4 UN Security Council resolutions, Azerbaijan liberates its lands from occupation and restores state borders recognized by the world community. And the current situation in the conflict and the status of Azerbaijan, demand of Azerbaijan is to liberate Nagorno-Karabakh and all surrounded regions and to withdraw Armenian troops from these occupied territories. After that, we can talk about any peaceful negotiations of this conflict.
So there's so many different issues here, and as you rightly say, under international law, the land is Azerbaijan. And President Ilham Aliyev has, as we just heard a little earlier, has reiterated that and reminded the world of that fact. If we go back to 9 days ago, how did this start? Azerbaijan didn't provoke anything, I assume. How did all this start? And what's the purpose of Armenia targeting civilians?
In general, last year, especially in 2016, in April, Armenia managed large provocations on front line. And these clashes lasted about 3-4 days. And in July this year, Armenia again tried to realize any provocation and targeted the civilian village. After all these clashes, Azerbaijan and the president of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, once again warned Armenia and all international organizations about the future military operations, the response of Azerbaijan to all this provocation. But unfortunately, on Sunday, September 27, Armenia's armed forces again targeted the civilian village, especially in Tavuz Shamkir region. And in response to these provocations, finally Azerbaijan started large-scale military operations and destroyed all these fire points of Armenia. And during the last 9 days, thousands of Armenian soldiers were neutralized, and a lot of Armenian military equipment, tanks were destroyed. And now Armenian authorities, Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan is looking for foreign support to fight against Azerbaijan. That is why I think Armenian government tries to provoke and to open new fire points frontline inside Azerbaijan. That's why they target Ganja city, which is 70 kilometers far from the Nagorno-Karabakh. That's why Armenia targets the Mingachevir and Kızı Absheron region. This is about 100 kilometers far from Baku. It's very close to Baku. So by this way, they try to involve Azerbaijan to these provocations and wish Azerbaijan to fire on these fire points in Armenia. So they want Azerbaijan to fire Armenian territory, and by this way call the Russia and Belarus, which is members of collective security organizations. But Azerbaijan is demanding to withdraw Armenian army from Nagorno-Karabakh, and the main target, the main goal of Azerbaijan is liberate its territories. We don't need any lands from Armenian Republic. We need our territories back. That's why all military operations are launched by Azerbaijan, especially in Nagorno-Karabakh and surrounding 7 regions. And Russia also supports the territorial integrity of Azerbaijan. And once again, Vladimir Putin said about this conflict. And that's why I think Nikol Pashinyan is looking for the support from European countries, especially their friend France. And the recent statements of French President Emmanuel Macron once again showed that, however, they try to stop the fire, but only one demand of Azerbaijan about ceasefire. If Armenian troops will be withdrawn from occupied territories, and after that, and recognize the territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, after that, we can start peaceful negotiations of this conflict.
Well, Ahmad Shahidov, thank you very much for that update and your analysis of the situation. We wish that international law is respected and territorial integrity restored to Azerbaijan. Thank you for joining us on ANews. And returning to our news from around the world.